All right. And then I said we were looking at Ranger next. Let's bring up Old Ranger so we can compare as well. Now, Ranger, I know, did get the shaft, and not for any interesting reasons that I can figure or discern. All right. So, favorite enemy. You always have Hunter's Mark prepared. You can cast it twice without expending a spell slot, and you regain all expended uses of this ability when you finish a long rest. The number of times you can cast the spell without a spell slot increases when you reach certain Ranger levels. So it used to be that you choose a favored enemy type, have advantage on survival checks to track them, as well as intelligence checks to recall information about them. And you learn a language of choice that is spoken by your enemies if they speak one at all. Choose one additional one at 6th and 14th. Okay. So, I know that this maybe didn't come into play a whole lot, but I do think this is really flavorful. I really like the idea as a ranger of like having these enemies or these creatures that you are like an expert in tracking. I know that the way that it's written now, it can be very difficult because depending on what you pick, if your DM just never has you fight those things, pretty lame. Changing it to just this and being like, hey, you get free uses of Hunter's Mark, which you have to concentrate on, isn't great. I feel like Hunter's Mark should be something that... Hunter's Mark should be like Hexblade's Curse or Vow of Enmity. It should be a thing that you put on something and you deal extra damage, and you can freely move it around like using a bonus action, or if something dies, you do it as a free action. And its damage should increase like Unarmed Strike and get better the higher you get. That's what Hunter's Mark should be. All right? It's pretty terrible the way that it is now. What they could have done with Favored Enemy to make this better, right, is as a ranger, you should be or be able to be an expert in just about anything. So instead of just picking a favorite enemy and boom, that's just what it is for as long as you're a ranger, is you should be able to take a short or long rest, consult like a journal, or, you know, just recall information. And basically the idea is, hey, we're going to go hunt elementals in phase, all right? I've done a lot of note-taking and studying and, like, research, and I have experience with these. Give me some time to, like, compile all of that and basically allow you to change these on a short or a long rest, and you deal additional damage to it as well. That would have made it so that, A, the flavor and themes of having the sort of favored enemies remains, and you don't get screwed not being able to use this because you never fight the enemies that you picked. Like I said, they did do that with Favored Foe and Tasha's, and it did scale with level. That is nice. They should have built upon that instead of just doing this, because I know that my ranger is always really disappointed when they try to do Hunter's Mark or Favored Foe, and then they want to, like, cast or do something else, basically. Weapon mastery, longbows and short swords. So I believe that longbows... You know what? I'm going to get this wrong, so we're just going to look it up so that I'm not spewing potential misinformation. All right, so short bow, Vex. You have advantage on your next attack roll. If they decide to use a longbow, why are these not in alphabetical order? Longbow gives slow, so you can reduce their speed by 10 feet. That means, oh Jesus, that means that when Maeve uses a slow arrow, she's now going to pretty much reduce things down to having 5 movement speed. Oof. And then if they use hand crossbow, Vex, and if they use heavy crossbow, push. And isn't there like a light crossbow as well? Light crossbow is also slow. Deft Explorer. Choose one of your skill proficiencies with which you lack expertise. Gain expertise. Learn 2 languages. Those are lame. Those are so lame. Fighting style, cool. Subclass, cool. Extra attack. Roving. Speed increases by 10 when you're not wearing heavy armor. You have a climb speed and a swim speed equal to your speed. Fine. Expertise. Fine. Tireless. Primal forces now help fuel you on your journeys, granting you the following benefits. As a magic action, you can give yourself temporary hit points equal to 1d8 plus your wisdom modifier. You can use this action a number of times equal to your wisdom modifier and regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Tireless. At 10th level. At 10th level, you can use your action to, at best, give yourself 13 temporary HP. That's bad. And you can do it 5 times a day. And you get it back on a long rest. Getting it back on a long rest isn't necessary because I don't know anyone who's using an action to do that. When you finish a short rest, your exhaustion level decreases by 1. Sure. Oh, that's so bad. Doesn't scale at all. Your proficiency should probably be in there at some point, and it should not take an action to do. That's crazy. It should probably be like if they want to keep this, add something else onto it so it scales a little bit better. No, you know what? Fucking ranger level. 1d8 plus wisdom plus your ranger level. And it should be like a bonus action, or it should be attached to something else that you do. Although there isn't really anything else that you do, so... maybe when you hit your hunter's mark, when you deal damage to your hunter's mark, you can use a bonus action to do this, right? Taking damage can't break your concentration on hunter's mark. Hunter's mark shouldn't be a spell to begin with. How about that? Nature's Veil. I know this got bumped up from being lower. Give yourself the invisible condition until the end of your next turn as a bonus action. Use this feature number of times equal to your wisdom modifier. Gain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Advantage on attack rolls against creatures. See, I like that Hunter's Mark gets better and stronger, but the fact that it's still a spell is really, really lame. Feral Sense, getting Blind Sight, cool. And then, yeah, not until you are level 20 does your Hunter's Mark become a D10 rather than a D8. Or, sorry, a D6. So let's see what they lost. Right? A lot of that is straight up lame as hell. Natural Explorer. Difficult terrain doesn't slow your group's travel. That's gone. The group can't become lost except by magical means. Gone. When you are engaged in another activity while traveling, you remain alert to danger. Gone. Move stealthily at a normal pace. Gone. All this stuff. I feel like they basically just took out all non-combat stuff. Primeval Awareness. Expend 1 ranger spell slot to focus your awareness on the region around you. Sense whether the following type of creatures are present. Gone. Moving through non-magical difficult terrain costs you no extra movement. You can pass through. Gone. Hidden in plain sight. I think that's... Is that the thing that they... Nope, that's gone. Vanish. You can use hide as a bonus action on your turn. Gone. Feral senses. You gain a preternatural sense that helps you fight creatures you can't see. When you attack a creature you can't see, your inability to see it doesn't impose disadvantage on your attack rolls. Gone. Like, they just completely threw out everything on Ranger and tried to make it from the ground up, and it's just bad. They didn't even use any of the, like, the optional stuff that was made, that was added in. And then I guess they kept Nature's Veil, but they bumped it up to level 14. See, also, again, like, you know, when we were looking at the Paladin changes, I understand why people are upset, but I also understand why they made the changes. You know, when we're looking at Druid, I understand why people are upset about the way that the HP works now, but I also understand why they made the change. I don't understand why they changed why they made the changes to Ranger that they did. All of these things are really, really cool thematically. They just needed to make them good mechanically as well, but instead they threw everything out and didn't do anything to improve it. Let's take a look at the subclasses. Primal Companion as a Beastmaster. Magically summon a beast, which draws strength from your bond with nature. Choose its stat block. Beast is friendly. In combat, the beast acts during your turn. It can move and use its reaction on its own, but the only action it takes is the dodge action unless you take a bonus action to command it to take an action on its stat block. And also sacrifice one of your attacks when you take the attack action to command the beast to make a beast strike instead. If the beast has died within the last hour, you can take a magic action to touch it and expend a spell slot. The beast returns to life after 1 minute with all of its hit points restored. There are a bunch of other classes that can, and magic items as well, that can summon things, you know, whether they're pets, whether they're other items, etc., etc., etc. And they just get to attack. They just get to do that. You don't need to sacrifice your own action economy for them to just do it, right? Summon Steed, for example. Right? Summon Steed gets an action and a bonus action. And you don't sacrifice it as the Paladin. So why does the Ranger, who is probably with their beast their entire life, why do they have to sacrifice their things to make their beast do something? Like, think about that both thematically, cinematically, narratively, that you're in this intense fight, and unless every 6 seconds you're taking the time to say, "Hey, Fido, attack," it just sits there and watches you. Actions. Bonus equals your spell attack modifier. 1d8 plus 2 plus your wisdom modifier. If the beast moved at least 20 feet straight toward the target before the hit, the target takes an extra 1d6 damage of the same type, and the target has the prone condition if it is a large or smaller creature. Cool. So you can have your beast run up and knock something down. so that you have disadvantage firing at it if you're using a bow and arrow. Yeah, these... Like, I like the idea that they tried to, like, you know, come up with something to be like, hey, we know that just, like, choosing a beast doesn't work really well because, like, it doesn't level up with you. You know, there's no scaling to it. So let's create a stat block that can level up based on your things. No, this ain't it. This ain't it. So what? That is your... That's what you get right at level 3, is a beast you're never going to use. You take a bonus action to command your primal companion beast to take an action. You can also command it to take the dash, disengage, dodge, or help action using its bonus action. In addition, whenever it hits with an attack roll and deals damage, it can deal your choice of force damage or its normal damage type. Okay. When you command your primal companion beast to take the beast's strike action, the beast can use it twice. In addition, the first time each turn it hits a creature under the effective Hunter's Mark spell, the beast deals extra force damage equal to the bonus damage of that spell. And when you cast a spell targeting yourself, you can also affect your primal companion beast with a spell if the beast is within 30 feet of you. So I don't know if, you know, the math of all of this works out to where using your beast to attack stuff will be better than if you're just attacking stuff, you know? Like, let's see. Hold on. So when you take a bonus action to command your primal beast to take an action, you can also command it, blah, 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 to take... All right, so you could use your bonus action to say, hey, beast of the land, go hit that guy. So if it does, it's going to deal 1d8 plus 2. We'll say your wisdom, we'll assume our wisdom's 5, right? So 1d8 plus 7 damage. We're going to say we're a ranger using swords so that we don't get... No, because you know what? We're not going to have it knock it prone for the extra 1d6. And then it uses its bonus action to give us the help action, which gives us advantage, right? So then we also get to attack it at advantage. And if we're at Bestial Fury, it gets to attack twice. So it's doing 2d8 plus 14 as your bonus action. And deals extra force damage. Wait, the beast deals extra force damage equal to the bonus damage of the spell. What's the bonus damage of the spell? 1d6. So basically, it benefits from Hunter's Mark. Okay, so at high enough levels, using your bonus action to have your beast attack will probably be worth it. But I still feel like you should just be able to tell your beast, attack that target, and it keeps on attacking it until it's dead, or you tell it to do something else. Like Knight says, honestly, I know now I shouldn't bitch over Divine Smite when looking at the Ranger. They failed the Ranger so bad. All right, Fey Wanderer. You can augment your weapon strikes with mind-scarring magic drawn from the murky hollows of the Fey Wild. When you hit a creature with a weapon, you deal an extra 1d4 psychic damage to the target, which can take this extra damage only once per turn. Okay. Meanwhile, Paladin, at a higher level, gets 1d8 on every attack. The extra damage increases to 1d6 when you reach level 11. Fey Wanderer spells. Blah, 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 blah. When you make a charisma check, you gain a bonus to the check equal to your wisdom modifier. Gain proficiency in deception, performance, or persuasion. See, and like, here's the other thing. The only thing that I can think of, again, for like the way the old ranger was that they were like, oh, all of this stuff is it's too like role play-y. There's not really any like mechanical benefit to it. And so they scrapped it all. But then they're also not really giving them any like otherworldly glamour. Is like role play-y, right? I guess like there's technically mechanical bonuses to it, but it just I don't get it. The magic of the Feywilds guards your mind. You have advantage on saving throws to avoid or end the charmed or frightened condition. In addition, whenever you or a creature you can see within 120 feet of you succeeds on a saving throw to avoid or end charmed or frightened conditions, take a reaction to force a different creature you can see within 120 feet of you to make a wisdom save against your spell save DC, and on a failed save, they are charmed or frightened. So, if something never tries to charm or frighten you, Beguiling Twist is useless. Right? Yep. Fey Reinforcements. You can cast Summon Fey without a material component. Once without a spell slot. Doesn't require concentration, but only becomes a minute duration. And it's Capstone. You can cast Misty Step without expending a spell slot, equal to your Wisdom. Whenever you cast Misty Step, you can bring one creature along with you. So, you know, cool Misty Step upgrade. Okay. So, the Fey Wanderer gets to add 1d4 psychic damage to one of its attacks per turn. They get an extra proficiency. If someone else tries to charm or fear them first, they can then try and charm/fear something else. And then they get a free Summon Fey, which, by the way, Ranger can do already. Right? All Rangers, if they want to, can cast Summon Fey. They don't have to concentrate on it. And then Misty Step becomes a Dimension Door. Ranger is bad, guys. Like I somebody worked on this, somebody created this, and I want to imagine or assume that they are proud of the work that they did. And so I feel bad being like disparaging about this. But when you make a subclass, like the thing the subclass is supposed to do is give you like an identity. It's supposed to like change the core identity of a class and make you feel like unique amongst that, right? Nothing that the Fey Wanderer does makes them any different from another ranger. All rangers can summon Fey. All rangers can Misty Step. This one, Beguiling Twist, you can't even do unless somebody else does something specific to allow you to do it. I would rather play a 2014 Arcane Archer than a Fey Wanderer Ranger. Gloomstalker. What's the old Fey Wanderer? Were all of them like that? Yep, that's the same. That's the same. That's the same. That's the same. Okay, so did they just not have time to do all of these? Like, if If you weren't going to update Fey Wanderer and actually make it better, why would you have not chose a subclass that was already really good, like the Drake Warden? Why did you choose a class for updating and not update it? All right, Gloomstalker was a good one. Let's see if it remains so. Dread Ambusher. At the start of your first turn of combat, your speed increases by 10 feet until the end of that turn. When you attack a creature and hit it with a weapon, you deal an extra 2d6 psychic damage. You can use this benefit only once per turn. You can use it a number of times equal to your wisdom modifier. When you roll initiative, you add your wisdom modifier to the roll. That sounds similar to what we had, right? Start of the turn, walking speed increases by 10. Okay. So if you take the attack action on that turn, you can make one additional weapon attack as part of that action. If that attack hits, the target takes an extra 1d8 damage of the weapon's damage type. So before, it was that you just got an extra attack that did 1d8 damage more. Now you can do 2d6 psychic damage up to 5 times per long rest. That equals out to more damage. Dark vision out to a range of 60 feet. Which Umbral Sight they still have. Well, in darkness, you have the invisible condition to any creature that relies on dark sight. All right, so that's all the same. At 7th, you gain proficiency in wisdom saving throws. If you already have it, you gain proficiency in intelligence or charisma. That's the same as it was. They did. So, technically, you deal more damage overall, and you can pick and choose where to put that. But you can't potentially get, like, 2 opening crits, I guess. Not that, I mean, that was obviously a very high, low chance anyway, but. All right, the psychic damage of your Dreadful Strike increases to 2d8. And when you use the Dreadful Strike effect of your Dread Ambusher feature, you can now cause the following additional effects. You can make another attack with the same weapon against a different creature that is within 5 feet of the original target and that is within the weapon's range. The target and each creature within 10 feet of it must make a wisdom saving throw against your spell save DC. On a failed save, a creature has the frightened condition until the start of your next turn. It used to be that at 11th level you learn to attack once on each of your turns, and when you miss with a weapon attack, you can make another weapon attack as a part of the same action. So it used to be that once on each of your turns, if you missed with your attack, you got to make another one. And now you can make a second attack against a different creature if they're next to the original, or you can cause the creature that you attacked and everyone within 10 feet of it to make a wisdom save or be frightened. So I do think that's an upgrade. I think overall the changes to Dread Ambusher and Stalker's Flurry are better. I think that you should be able to expend spell slots to regain uses of Dreadful Strike. Shadowy Dodge. When a creature makes an attack roll against you, you take a reaction to impose disadvantage. Whether the attack hits or miss, you can then teleport 30 feet to an unoccupied space you can see. I'm glad that they didn't put a, you can only use this once per blah, blah, blah on it. That's nice. Okay. Hunter. You can call on the forces of nature to reveal certain strengths and weaknesses of your prey. While a creature is marked by your hunter's mark, you know whether they have immunities, resistances, or vulnerabilities, and if the creature has any, you know what they are. Gain one of the following features of your choice. Colossal Slayer. When you hit a creature with a weapon, the weapon deals an extra 1d8. See, I feel like this stuff should just be part of the Ranger's core class ability. Horde Breaker. Once on each of your turns, when you make an attack with a weapon, you can make another attack with the same weapon against a different creature that is within 5 feet of the original target. That's just Sudden Strike from the Gloomstalker. Defensive Tactics. Gain one of the following feature options of your choice. When you finish a short or long rest, you can replace one. Opportunity attacks have disadvantage against you. When a creature hits you with an attack roll, that creature has disadvantage on all other attack rolls against you this turn. Once per turn, when you deal damage to a creature marked by your hunter's mark, you can deal that spell's extra damage to a different creature that you can see within 30 feet. When you take damage, you can take a reaction to give yourself resistance to that damage and other type of damage of the same type until the end of the current turn. Wow. I don't have anything good to say about Ranger. I don't have anything good to say about it.